Hey friends, welcome to a Saturday Daily Dub. I'm sitting out on the porch looking at that lovely view here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's wonderful. I'm on vacation, as you can see, and I wanted to do a Daily Dub. I thought it was felicitous to talk about this today. There will be no spoilers in this, so don't fear either for Game of Thrones or Endgame or Star Wars or anything else. It will be more just a discussion. I feel like a lot of you probably come to my channel just for silliness and goofiness and maybe toys or whatever else, travel stuff. I do feel like some of you come to my channel because from time to time I try to have more in-depth conversations around some of the things we enjoy that you may not be able to find otherwhere. You may not have people to talk to in your life about it. And today's one of those. A couple years ago on the ringer.com, a website that you should definitely check out or listen to podcasts from, one of their lead creative talents there, Alison Herman, wrote an article about Game of Thrones being the very last piece of TV monoculture. And I'll link the article in the description. It's a very, very, very good article. And I read it again recently. She wrote it just before the season premiere of the seventh season of Game of Thrones. And I think it's timely, once again, to talk about it here, as well as with Endgame. And so, for the sake of this conversation, monoculture is like all of us grouped together doing a thing at a singular time all together. With the same interests. And in our society anymore, that's rare. But for this, we're just talking about media specifically. And this weekend, I thought was the right time to talk about it because we have Endgame right now, which I think when I looked this morning through Friday, it had made close to $200 million just in America. It seems like it's going to be, doggy. It's going to be close to $350 million American opening, domestic opening, which would be $100 million more than Infinity War, probably pushing $1 billion worldwide opening. It's just staggering how many people know they have to see it this weekend. Even that much more than Infinity War. And with Endgame kind of being the conclusion to the current generation of the MCU, my thesis is that the future movies won't get the same level of interest. That the broader audience that aren't the nerds like we are, the broader audience that are on the fringes will probably step away because this is the end. It's not a trilogy this time. It's 20-something movies, but it's kind of the end of the trilogy, and they'll move on to something else. That may not happen, but I feel like there's elements of that are going to happen. But also, we're all going to see it opening weekend. And sure, there's some people that can't, and I'm sorry for those people. But this is not a movie that you have to wonder if your friends saw it Monday or Tuesday. You're pretty sure they saw it if they're into it. And the discussion is more so around Game of Thrones with the TV monoculture. This is a humongous episode, Sunday night, tomorrow night, of Game of Thrones. Probably the biggest episode ever. It is the longest episode ever. They have already stated it has the longest and most intense scripted battle scene ever filmed. Ever. Better, bigger and badder than Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings. Return of the King, by the way, 3 hour and 20-minute runtime in the theater. Longer than Endgame. People forget that. Everyone's going to watch it Sunday night. Everybody that watches Game of Thrones is watching the show as it airs on Sunday night, if at all possible. And then the last 3 episodes is going to be the same way. It's just going to be that way. And that's what it means by monoculture. Something that unifies us and brings us together, and we all do it at the same time. I would say the last big TV piece of monoculture was Breaking Bad, only in the final season. If you look at the streaming numbers for Breaking Bad on Netflix, it's staggering how much that grew. Breaking Bad is also, to my knowledge, the only other show to Game of Thrones that has increased viewership every season that's been on. That is an incredibly rare thing to happen. Most shows peak in season 3 or 4, and then their ratings go down. Game of Thrones is higher than ever, and each season has been higher than ever. And And so what I want to talk about, that's just kind of the overarching talking about monoculture, is this the end of monoculture where we all are excited to do a thing at the same time? Now, I know some of you are a good bit younger than me, but when I grew up, the X-Files was a big monoculture show. Everybody wanted to see what happened when the cigarette smoking man was going to burn all the aliens in the railroad car. And you had to wait all summer to find out some of that stuff. And you were all going to be there for this new season premiere. And everybody was going to talk about it. And the water cooler talk and all that kind of stuff. That stuff's gone. Now, if you have a TV show you like, most of your time is spent convincing someone else to watch it. That's kind of the society we live in now. I love Mr. Robot. There's only like 1 million people on Earth that watch Mr. Robot. I think that show's fantastic. I love Legion. Less than the people that watch Mr. Robot watch that show. As popular as we felt like the Netflix shows were, they weren't that popular. The Daredevil and those shows. They weren't doing the number that the Big Bang Theory does. Nowhere close to that. Not even 5% of that. And even the Big Bang Theory doesn't touch what shows like Friends, Seinfeld, Frasier did in the 90s. Now, why is that? Well, A, there wasn't all these options. You couldn't watch me talk to you instead of Friends. If you want to watch TV on Thursday night, you're going to watch Friends. Because all the other networks took stuff away. Cable television wasn't even to the place yet where they were just showing things like Pawn Stars or reruns of crime shows. They were showing nothing. There was nothing to watch on cable television. Sports weren't existing every single day of the week. They lived in their isolated days. They weren't being so broadly televised. And so when Friends was on, that's what was on. And you watched it or you didn't watch it. That was the camp. It wasn't, oh, I'll get to it later. I'll binge it when the season's over. I'll buy it once it's available on streaming or Blu-ray or whatever. All that wasn't there. And so it was a monoculture. You knew when you go to work, everybody that cared to watch it had watched it. So you didn't have to worry about spoiling people, you know. And I'm sensitive to spoilers. I said no spoilers here. I don't want to spoil Endgame or Game of Thrones for anybody. But, like, if I just spoiled you on X-Files from 25 years ago, that's your fault. Like, everything can't be spoilers. That's not the way it works. If you care enough about something, you have to watch it within a certain timely manner. You know, if you wait a month to watch Endgame and then you complain somebody spoils it, even if you were in a cave for a month and no way to watch it, still, there's elements where that just ends. The conversation has to continue. I think it's also been timely to talk about the monoculture because right now in the Facebook groups, you can tell the people that are itching to talk about Endgame, can we talk about it yet? Will you please open up the spoiler discussion? That's all over the place. There's a part of me that goes, do you not have people in real life that you can talk to about this? Do you not have your friends or family that you can talk to about this? And I understand a lot of us don't. I'm very blessed that I have a number of people that I'm already talking to about Endgame and Game of Thrones because I know them in real life. I can call them and text them, we see them in person, have dinner, and we can talk about our thoughts on stuff. But I know a lot of people don't. And so they're waiting. They're just waiting to have the shared experience to talk about the way they feel about an event with someone else because they don't have people in their everyday life they can talk about it with. That's the monoculture. We want to share that culture with everybody, but now it's fragmented. It doesn't happen all at once where all of us can talk about it all at the same time. And I think that's a sad thing. But it's the nature of our changing media landscape. It's the way we digest content. It's the type of content that's available to us. It's things like YouTube. It's things like social media that actually would make it easier, but in reality they make it harder because the competition is for your time more than anything. It's not a competition for your dollar because a lot of us are giving our money to all these places. It's not a competition for your spirit, your passion. It's a competition for your attention. Attention arbitrage. How many things can we get a person to pay attention to? Because if they're watching a TV show and then on their iPad they have a YouTube video up and then on their phone they're playing a mobile game and then on some other device they're looking at Facebook, what are they actually paying attention to? And then they have one headphone in and listen to a podcast. That is true of me sometimes. All of those things happening at once where I'm digesting everything because there's so many things I'd like to digest at a time. And most of those are things that never were available to me before. They're just things that I couldn't have done before. I could do one. And a lot of those would never be able to happen because I couldn't watch my friends act up on YouTube out by the stream any other time. So what I wanted to do is talk about this. I want to encourage you to read the article from The Ringer about the monoculture with Game of Thrones. And talk about it in the comments. Like, what do you think about this? Will you miss it? Do you already miss it? Because it's already basically gone. Or do you think this is wrong? Do you think there's going to be more events that are going to bring about the monoculture? Star Wars at the end of the year possibly could be a monoculture event. Because it's also kind of the end of the Skywalker saga or whatever. But I think Star Wars has taken such a hit to its reputation recently, whether you agree with that or not, that people aren't going to be in such a hurry to see it. I think there's going to be people waiting to see what others say about it on opening weekend, because some people feel like they've been disappointed by Star Wars in recent years. So I have a feeling it won't get the same conversation. What do you think about this? Do you enjoy the shared experience with everybody, or do you prefer I get to watch it as I want to watch it? It doesn't matter to me. Somebody thumping. And just how do you feel about it? Don't spoil anything in the comments, please. I'll delete those if there's spoilers. And just tell me what you think. And would you like to see me talk more about these types of things? Business, the economic side, when we're talking about the figures, the licensing side, but then also more the cultural side, the sociological side of media, of pop culture, of technology. Because I talk about this a lot with my friends and family. I don't talk about it every once in a while. I'll talk about it on here. But, I know a lot of you just want to see me go hunt for Marvel Legends, and that's cool too. But if you'd like to be pressed a little further intellectually, I think I also am capable of doing that if you're interested. So anyway, I'm going to go enjoy vacation. I hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. If you haven't seen Endgame and you're about to see it, enjoy. If you don't care about Endgame or you're not going to see it, which I had someone say that they didn't mind being spoiled about Endgame on my spoiler review, that's fantastic. Like, I'm actually very interested in who that person is. I'm going to be watching Game of Thrones. You'll get a recap from me on Game of Thrones on Monday, probably late or early Monday morning, midnight, 1 in the morning. And you'll get a new episode of Dub Life tomorrow, which I believe is WrestleMania. And The Wizard, so I think you'll enjoy it. Anyway, have a great Saturday. Talk to you soon. Squeeze it.